Athletes around the world are training hard to compete in the upcoming Beijing Olympics, but a dark cloud hangs over these games. China stands accused of committing an ongoing genocide against its Muslim minority Uyghur population, and countries around the world have also expressed serious concerns about Beijing's actions in Hong Kong and Tibet. Some have called for these Olympic Games to be moved or boycotted. My next guest is an outspoken activist on human rights abuses around the world, and he is calling on athletes to boycott the upcoming Games. Enes Kanter Freedom. He's an NBA player with the Boston Celtics, and he's in Salt Lake City, Utah. And it's very good to have you on the program. And I want to start by saying congratulations on becoming a U.S. citizen this week.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So for our viewers who may not be familiar with your story, why was getting U.S. citizenship such an important moment for you?
You know, it's been a rough 6 years. I mean, if you guys follow what's going on with me and, you know, the recent attacks that I was getting from Turkish government, it's been a very rough time. So, you know, after I get my green card, you know, the Turkish government put my name on Interpol list and they revoked my passport. So becoming an American citizen, it was an amazing moment and very emotional. And finally, where I was going to call somewhere home, that was really, really important for me. And I was very speechless. And like I said, again, it was a very emotional moment.
Why do you think the Turkish government took that action?
You know, if you look at what's happening over there right now, there are so many, you know, human rights violations are happening. They have no freedom of speech, religion, or expression, and there are so many political prisoners in the jail right now waiting for help. And what I'm trying to do is use my platform to be the voice of innocent people out there who don't have a voice. And obviously, just because of the NBA platform, whenever I say something, it becomes a conversation. And Turkish government hates that. So that's why, you know, they revoked my passport, put my name on Interpol list, and they actually put my dad in jail for a while. But we put so much pressure from here to Turkey, they let him go.
Now, your activism has not been restricted just to your native Turkey. It's also been directed towards China. Why is it important for you to call out what you see as human rights abuses in China?
I remember doing a basketball camp this summer, and I was taking pictures with the kids. And I remember one of the parents, you know, turned around and told me, "How can you call yourself a human rights activist when your Muslim brothers and sisters in concentration camps in China right now and getting tortured and raped every day?" And I was shocked. You know, I turned around to that parent and I was like, "I promise you that I'm going to, you know, do my research and get back to you." And the more research I have done, the more violation I've seen, you know, not just towards Uyghur people, but Tibetans, Hong Kongers, and, you know, the Taiwanese people. So I was like, I have to do something about this. I cannot stay silent. So that's why I was like, you know what, this is my time to talk about the issues, not just in Turkey, but all over the world.
You talk about, you have the platform because you're in the NBA, and the NBA widely regarded as a more progressive major sports league in terms of the ability of its players and its organizations to be given the latitude to be activists, whether it's things like Black Lives Matter or a number of other issues around the borders of the United States. But very often, a lot of those issues seem to be focused inwards towards the United States. Do you feel you still have the same kind of latitude to direct criticism and critique outwards, particularly to China, a market that is, frankly, very important to the NBA?
I mean, obviously, there are problems and issues are happening all over the world, including, you know, America. But, you know, obviously, you know, just last year, there's more people watched in NBA games in China than whole American population. So the business side of it is real. You know, every year NBA is making billions of dollars from Chinese market. But just because of the monies and business involved, I told myself I'm not gonna, you know, stay silent about some of the issues that are happening over there. You know, and you know, I was like, you know what, whatever happens, I'm just gonna go out there and try to be the voice of innocent people, like I was in Turkey. And obviously, when the business involved, when the pretty much billions of dollars are involved, people are not gonna like it as much. I remember talking about Turkey the last 10 years. I did not get one phone call. I remember talking about China. One day, my phone was ringing once every 2 hours. But I was like,
who was calling?
Important. Oh, people were coming from everywhere, NBA, NBPA, Player Association, and people from my organization. But I was like, you know what? This is bigger than basketball. People don't understand. I understand, it's important, obviously, business side of it, but people are losing their lives over there. People are, getting tortured and killed every day. So I was like, I'm not going to stay silent about the issues that are happening over there.
There have been consequences for the NBA of this kind of criticism. The NBA's digital streaming partner in China actually pulled broadcasts of Boston Celtic games. Do you see when that kind of thing happens that it is a message to you or a message to those around you to try to silence you?
I mean, that shows clear dictatorship. Just because of I criticize the government, and I didn't even say anything about the government. I was like, I told them Tibet should be free. I remember going to a locker room and at halftime, my manager texted me that all the Celtics games are banned. That clearly shows that there's a dictatorship happening in China right now. But I was like, it is what it is. I'm not gonna, back down. I'm not gonna stay silent or remain silent about the things just because of, the NBA or whatever is involved. So I'm just gonna keep speaking the truth.
You've called for the Olympics, the next Olympics set to occur in Beijing, to be moved. Clearly, that's not going to happen. Not at this late stage. They're going to go ahead. I wonder what the message you think that sends China is.
I mean, first of all, shame on International Olympic Committee. They sleep in the same bed with China. They're part of the problem, And while we're talking right now, there's a genocide happening. So shame on them organizing an Olympic Games in a country in a dictatorship like China. So it was very disgusting. But I am trying to do everything I can to just bring awareness and try to push other athletes, and not just athletes but other celebrities, to push the games somewhere else, because look how they are treating their own tennis player. Are we really going to trust them with our own player?
When you talk about players, and I'm going to shift the discussion because I'm talking to you from Canada here, to some familiar names to our audience: Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, big NHL stars, some of the biggest. They're Canadians. They're likely going to end up on Team Canada, going to Beijing, going to the Olympics. What would you like for them to do when faced with human rights abuses in China?
Just my one message to them: all the gold medals you can win in the world is not more important than your values, your principles. And, I feel like we need to stand up for what's right. And obviously the players, as you just, count, they are one of the obviously most famous players in their sport, in their league, in Canada maybe. But the important thing is there are so many young kids out there are watching and idolizing them. So just do it for them. Because
are you saying that they shouldn't go?
They should not go. I mean, if I was, I would not go to a country like China where there's a genocide happening, because this is unacceptable. I understand these athletes are working so hard to get to that level.
Yeah.
But sometimes there are bigger things than sports. There are bigger things than basketball or hockey or this and that. So I feel like I'm telling them to stand up for what's right.
Is there an argument, because they're not all hockey players, there are, as you note, there are athletes who have trained for years and years and years to get to this point. They don't get to choose where the Olympics is going to take place. It just happens to be that it's going to be in Beijing. Is there an argument for those kinds of athletes to simply use the platform to send a message, as opposed to not going in order to send a message?
I feel like not going will send them the best message. I mean, by going there, you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem, and you're part of the. To me, it's just really sad, because those athletes are the one that can bring change. And I understand they're working years and years to get to that level. But like I said again, I mean, just put yourself in their situation. If your family was in a concentration camps, if your mother, if your sister was in a concentration camps getting gang raped and tortured every day, would you feel the same way?
Enes Kanter Freedom. We'll leave it there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate that.
Hi. Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.